If you're training 3 times a week or more and nothing is changing, then you're probably skipping these 5 things. I'm Rachel, personal trainer and online coach. Over the last 6 years, I have helped countless women get fit, get strong, gain more confidence, and build a body they actually want. And here we're going to be talking about it. We're going to be talking about what you are not doing in the gym that is not getting you the results. And this isn't about specific exercises. And we're not even talking about whether you're doing cardio versus weights, because we're going to just put that one to bed straight away, that your body needs some form of resistance training in order to change. Cardio alone is not going to do that. But that's not what we're going to be discussing today. We are going to be discussing if you are doing the weights, you're going in the gym 3 times a week, maybe even more, and you're doing the weights, you're on the machines, using the dumbbells, you're using it all. You're like, yes, I am doing this, I am following this shit, and you're still not getting the results. Let's get into it. The first one, and I will die on this hill, is that so many women are not lifting heavy enough. And you might be thinking, I'm just going to turn this off right now. I'm sick of you saying this, Rachel. I'm sick of you telling me I'm not lifting heavy enough. But I am. I pick the weight up and it feels really heavy. I don't care if you go over to the dumbbell rack and you pick up a set of dumbbells for your RDLs or your dumbbell lunges or split squats, and that dumbbell feels heavy in your hand. I do not care, because it's going to feel heavy in your hand. It's not, however, going to feel heavy for the movement you're using it for. I'm not asking you to bicep curl it. I'm not asking you to lateral raise it. I'm saying, don't just think because it's like, oh, that's heavy, that it's too heavy for you for the movement you're going to be doing. It's really tricky and it does take some time, and that is why I keep banging on about it. It takes time to figure out what's heavy. And you only know by doing, you only know by trying. And I say this to my clients, well, just try the next dumbbell up. Just give it a go. What's the worst that can happen? Because again, if you go into the gym, if you're happy with your form, and that's first and foremost, like, don't be lifting heavy before you've nailed your form. But nothing bad is going to happen just from trying the next weight up. And if you can hit the reps, try the next weight up. Like, it's as simple as that in many ways. But we often limit ourselves. And this is where also like the belief stuff comes in with this, because the amount of times I will be in the gym and I'll see the women using the racks that, it's like the 1 kilo dumbbells up to like the 10. There's often those racks in gyms. So many women just stick to those racks, or like the light end of the bigger dumbbell rack. It's like 12 and a half is like the top of the range. 15 if we're lucky. No one's going in there being like, I'm going to pick up those 20s and RDL those, I'm going to pick up those 30s, or I'm going to, like, that's also a belief issue. It's like, oh, I don't belong in that area, that those aren't for me. And that's also what we need to work on here, because you will be surprised how much stronger you are than you think. And I'm saying this in the sense of, when you start out, of course, you've got to build the weight slowly. Your central nervous system needs to get used to it. You need to get used to the movement. You need to be comfortable, confident. But if you've been going for a number of weeks and you are happy with the movements and you're not seeing change, you're probably just not going heavy enough. So how I want you to think about this is, if you are looking at your gym plan, because you should have a gym plan or a coach, and that plan says, I want you to do, say it's got a range, and it might be 8 to 12. If you get to 12 reps with the weight you're using, unless on that 12th rep you are falling over, you cannot physically do anything else, chances are you can probably go heavier. And especially if, last week you did 12 reps with that weight, and you did all 2, 3, 4 sets, whatever it is, with that weight, you can probably go to the next dumbbell up, the next weight on the machine up, the next, whatever the increment is. If you do that, like, and then aim for the 8 reps, but you might get to 8 reps and still be able to do a bit more. And these are all signs that you're not actually working to your potential. Without getting into, we're not going to start talking about absolutely, smash into failure every single time. But also, I don't think it's an issue, because I don't think most people know what it is like to train to failure. So think of it as though you can't physically do anymore. But if for instance, I was stood over you saying, could you do another 5 reps right now? Could you do another 5 reps for £1 million? Start thinking of that when you're lifting. Would I do another 5 reps? If someone offered me £1 million, could I do another 5 reps? That's a sign. Because equally, if I want the body that I want, can I do another 5 reps? And not that you should be doing the extra 5 reps, but it gives you an indication of the level that you're working at and whether you are going heavy enough. So that is point number 1. Now, in many ways, the rest of the points we're going to discuss feed into that. Because the second thing, you're probably not resting long enough between sets. Of course, you're not going to be able to go heavy enough if you're not resting long enough. The amount of conversations I've had with clients when they first started working with me, where they're like, oh, I didn't rest for as long as you said, or I just rested 20 seconds between sets and I went again. I'm like, sorry, what? 20 seconds? Yeah, 20 to 30 seconds. Like, I was fine. I went again, like, kept my heart rate up, I kept going. It's not a circuit class. We're not treating this as a cardio. We're not trying to keep our heart rate up. We want to rest sufficiently between sets that we can go again at a similar intensity. If you can do your 8, 10, 12, 5, 15, whatever rep it is, with the weight you're using, rest for 20, 30 seconds and be able to repeat it set on set, it's not heavy enough. When the goal isn't, there's a reasons why you might do exercises like that. But when the goal is you are strength training and we're trying to lift heavy and progress with that, that's not the outcome. So doing your sets like that with minimal rest isn't the outcome. It isn't what we're focusing on. Take the rest. We want to give our breathing rate chance to come down, our heart rate chance to come down, the muscle that we've been using ready to sort of feel like, okay, yeah, maybe I can go again now. A minute and a half, absolute minimum. And for bigger lifts and going even heavier, 2, 3, sometimes 5 minutes. So really think about that. And that feeds into the heaviness, because that will mean you can go again at a heavier weight. You've got more repeatability. The next point to consider is that you're probably not doing getting your whole body involved in the graft. So what I mean by this is, when you are lifting, and I'll say this to clients, and I used to say this when I'm PT, and I'm like, what's the rest of your body doing? Someone's doing a dumbbell bench press. What are your legs doing? Oh, I don't know, they're just lying here. Oh, I don't know, I don't know. The answer is, I don't know. Well, you should know what your legs are doing. You should know what your whole body is doing any given moment when you're doing a lift. So if you are dumbbell benching, then we want to be pulling our feet back, trying to push our heels down, even if we're on our toes, still thinking about pushing our heels down to create tension to the glutes, the hamstrings, the core. We're pushing our shoulder blades into the bench. All of this creating downward force against the opposing upward force of pressing. If you start to do that, funnily enough, the weight becomes easier. So when you're saying, oh, I can't lift that weight, ask yourself, is my whole body involved in the graft? Don't care if you're lying down in a bench, a seated dumbbell shoulder press. I don't care if you're on a machine. Don't care if you're standing up. I don't care what the exercise is. Start thinking about what the rest of your body is doing. Holding the dumbbells, Just like here, I'm doing a split squat, it's lower body movement. I am squeezing the shit out of those dumbbells, so my whole body is involved in the graft. It makes the dumbbells feel lighter. It makes my body move at one. I'm not flopping into my shoulders. We don't want no flop. Okay? So get your whole body involved in the graft. Think about what it's doing at all times. Can I be pushing into the floor? Can I be pushing my knees into a pad on the lat pull down? Can I be, pulling my shoulders into the bench? Can I be squeezing? Can I be, what's my core doing? And that can be a lot to think about. But this is, once you start doing it, you'll start realising how much easier it actually makes the lift. And that's again why it feeds into point one of going heavy enough, because when you're doing that, you will probably be able to go heavier. Another thing you might not be doing is controlling the weight. So we're not just thinking about moving a weight from point A to point B. In some aspects, pure strength training, that is the point. You're picking a heavy deadlift off the floor, you're moving from point A to point B. However, in order to get to that process and to lift those heavy weights, we need to go through periods where we're really trying to think about control and recruiting as many muscle fibers as possible. We're thinking of what muscles we're working. And it's not that if you can't feel it or you don't think about it, they're not working, because by doing a movement pattern, those muscles are working. But the more you can get into the habit again of thinking about these things, controlling the movement, chances are you'll get better at those movements and you'll be able to go heavier over time. So whilst you're moving from point A to point B, try and do with it as much control and as focus as possible. Don't be thinking about what you had for your tea or what you're going to have for your tea or when you're next seeing your fella. Think about the muscles that you're working. Think about the movement. Slow it down. So be present. Be in the fucking moment with it. Take your time. Control. Lower with control. If you think about you go into a goblet squat, control it on the way down. Little pause at the bottom. Nice and powerful out of the hole. When you start doing that, rather than just bouncing in and out of movements, you're going to see better progress. You're also, with more control, you'll be able to go heavier again over time. And then if you think about getting your whole body involved in the graft, moving with control, going heavier, it's all starting to come together. Now, the final thing that you are probably not doing is going with intent, focus, and progression in mind. Don't want to be doing you a disservice here. And if you are going in with a plan, great. But are you also going in with your plan? Your plan of the plan. So what I mean by that is, again, your plan might dictate you're doing 3 sets of 8 reps. It might even suggest a weight or based on what you've been doing. If you don't have that, you might just have a basic plan. You need to be looking at what you did last week. And even if you've got instruction, even if you've got a coach that's saying aim for this weight or do it at this weight, think about what your personal goals for that session are, what your intent is for that session. How do you want to feel? What do you want to get out of it? So yeah, you might want to hit those reps and that weight, but are you going to do it with better focus, better control? Are you going to get an extra rep this week? Are you going to go up in weight this week? Are you not going to get distracted in the session? Are you not going to look at your phone? How are you going into that session? What is your personal intent and your personal progression over time? Because it isn't just about going heavier week on week or session on session. We want to see over time that you're doing that, because it's also not feasible that you're just going to be able to go up in weight every week. There'd be no weights left in the gym. But over time, we want to be seeing that. And that also comes in with the extra reps, the better movement, more control, more range, feeling more confident in the movement. So start having your own intentions for that session and be prepared before you even go in. Don't go in and just start looking at your plan. Know before you're going in what your plan says and how you're going to attack it and how you're going to feel about it and all the things you need to do to get the most out of that session. And I think that's something that so many women don't think about. It's quite passive when it comes to weight training. just going through the motions, ticking the boxes. Well, I've hit the rep range, or I've hit the weight, or I've done that. But are you really intentional with what you're doing? And that's what's key. Those are 5 things that you're probably not doing if you're not getting the results that you want. Hope it's been helpful. Let me know, and I'll see you in the next video.